earn free crypto just by learning about it. Coinbase.
What's up, Christian? Getting things set up here. We're going to tear apart the EXB, the new Creighton 8S, a little bit, do a few things to it. All right. Doing good, doing good. Got back from vacation, feel kind of rested. But was out running today for a little while. Took the Creighton 6S EXB out for a rip today in the Big Rock. And had a blast out there. Took them down to the motocross track and had a good time. Had a lot of fun down there. Ended up doing a little bit of damage to the EXB. I don't know if any of you guys are on any of the Facebook sites, like, you know, RC Bashers and Crashers and Control Freaks is another. Two of the Facebook pages I get onto, you know, some guys on there really good groups and, you know, post some videos. And today I landed the Creighton 6S right into the top of a steel fence, and it didn't end too well. Creighton's still rolling, however, the chassis got a little bit of an arch to it now. What's up, CSL? How's it going, Andy? B, UK, good. How's it going, bud? I'm doing good. Three Sons, how's it going, buddy? Dan Blasky, how's it going, bud? I didn't know. Yeah, I posted. I was just kind of letting you know because I posted up a few videos, you know, short clips from the run today with the Creighton 6S. The Big Rock, she held up great. The shock shaft's a little bent on it, but besides that, it did pretty well. However, I'm not sure what the best angle maybe to show you guys this is, but I'm not sure you can see this very well. But at any rate, it's massively dipped in right here. You can see kind of the scrapes where the top of the fence hit that thing and caved the whole bottom of the chassis in on this thing. She still runs. Nothing's out of alignment really or rubbing, but it looks like I'm either going to have to straighten the chassis out or just get a new chassis for it. I might try an M2C, or I might just end up finding another EXB chassis on eBay for 20 bucks. Seem to come across those things pretty cheap often, so I'll see what I find out there. What's up, Ryan? The X, how's it going, bud? I might melt. It has been warm. Today wasn't too bad, but it's still been warm enough. I'll tell you what. Thanks, Three Sons. Yeah, this Outcast 8S has been a lot of fun so far. And I say so far because it hasn't been proven that long yet. But so far it's been a good time. And this castle setup in this thing is just ridiculous. I mean, honestly, it's the power on it's crazy. So I should throw you guys over to the other camera here. But, so yeah, the castle setup we got in this thing. Any guys that don't know, we got the Castle XLX2 ESC with the Coke can 1100 kV motor in this thing. And it's just a beast, guys. I mean, an absolute beast. It has been running great. Right now, I do have the sensor hooked up to it. I ran it, you know, sensorless, and I ran it censored one time. Obviously censored. Power is a lot smoother. Really liked it. But, you know, I heard in a lot of issues with the sensors inside the motors on these breaking rather easily, especially bashing. So I kind of decided I was going to run it until the sensor breaks at the moment and see how I like it. But she's been running good so far. What's up, Joe Girding? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, I know, Three Sons. I can't remember. I don't think I've changed the chassis on the Creighton EXB yet. I did change the chassis on the V4 Creighton once, and it had just a regular. It didn't have the you know, EXB chassis on it, obviously, but I put the EXB chassis on it, and I haven't had any problems with it yet. But if you guys see, when you guys see the video coming up on this, you'll understand why the chassis bent. I mean, I launched it probably about, I mean, it was full, pretty much wide open. Came off a jump, probably about 80, 90 feet, you know, distance-wise. And she was up about, you know, close to 3 stories and came down right on top of a steel chain link fence. And I mean, it was a nasty stop. What's up, GURURC? Yeah, that is one thing, Three Sons. The air correction on this 8S is just amazing. You know, compared to my Creighton 8S that has the stock, you know, Firma system in it, I mean, it's a night and day difference with the air control on this thing. I mean, this thing corrects just like a 6S car in the air. It's awesome. But, at any rate, what we're working on tonight with this thing, out on the last bash, I don't know. Yeah, should talk about that in the video. But anyway, I broke this rear link here. And it actually didn't break the metal part, because these are really heavy, but it did bust off the plastic piece. It kind of cut it down a little bit short. So I got a whole package of these lovely composite ball cup sets, so we're going to change that out. I also am going to mess around with the gearing a little bit on this thing. Right now I am running 1-to-1. It's 39-39, and it's just ridiculous. I have yet to give this thing anything more than about half throttle, and it won't. You can't keep the front wheels down. It wants to backflip or just wheelie forever. So I didn't go too much crazier as far as size-wise, but I bought a 35 tooth. Now this is a 35 tooth, you know, M1 with the 8mm shaft gear, and these are big gears. But I'm going to throw this on there, go down a little bit on the teeth size, and see how that works out. I might throw on while we got the motor out. I ordered this from eBay. It's one of those little bit more adjustable motor plates. Sorry, I know the light might be kind of killing this. Boy, that light's bright as heck. See if I can turn this down a little bit. Sorry. All right. So, this motor plate. It's got a whole bunch of extra holes in it, in the top of it, so that you can kind of more finely adjust your motor mount depending on what size pinion you're going to put on it. So I got one of those, and we're going to give that a try and see how it works. See how I like the gearing and all that good stuff. So we're going to work on those things. I also might be tearing into the Rift tonight. I took the Rift on me to vacation down in Tennessee, and I was out there messing around and launching it up some of the hills. I mean, obviously there's lots of hills down in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I was out there messing around with it. And I unfortunately ripped something apart. It sounds like in the front differential. It's making a terrible noise, and it's obviously not going front-wheel drive anymore. So, might run into that. What's up, Froggy? You're mounting your General Grabbers. Nice. What's up, Mr. Explorer? CK Hobby, how's it going? All right, so that's what we're going to work on here. I think first we're going to start with the easy stuff. Now, I know you guys aren't going to be able to see too much on that side of the camera, so maybe I'll bring you guys back over here for the moment. And no, Windows, I do not want to restart my computer. That would be a bad time. Lovely computers. So, bring you guys back over here for a little bit. I'm just basically going to pull this rear link off here, the rear Camber link. Change this thing out first. I'm hoping I can get this thing threaded without heating it up. Because these are pretty big and on the unruly side to change out, honestly. So I'm going to get this thing torn off of here and start getting this thing changed out, because I was wanted to take it out today. I was going to take the Outcast out today and give it a run, but I really couldn't, because I know this tie rod link's going to snap off in a second, because it only has about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of the metal actually threaded into the plastic now, because the other probably inch or more of it has snapped off and is gone. So I didn't want to take it out without it done. What's up, Brandon Daniels? How's it going? How's the weight on that compared to the standard? Well, the only other one I haven't really compared to is the the Creighton. I mean, they're pretty similar, honestly. And with this motor, with the Castle motor, I mean, it's not a light motor. I mean, they call it a Coke cam motor, as you guys know, for a reason. It's on the large side. But now I remember which bits I used to take this thing off last time. It's crazy when you start getting these larger cars, you start finding yourself needing more tools in order to get things apart. But let me go ahead and get this thing ripped out of here first. Debating what I want to use. I think I actually have the right sized. Yes, I do. Now, is this the reverse thread side or the normal thread side? I think this is the reverse. Yes. Get this one unwound. Maybe. What the heck? It don't even want to come off there. It's kind of weird. It's like turning, but it's not going anywhere. There it goes. I think it's coming off now. It was just spinning in there, I think, because the threads were all stripped out and messed up. It wasn't actually moving. RC Master, what's up, man? What's up, Kern? Sorry, I'm trying to catch everybody and peek at my phone occasionally here. Now this doesn't work. My nifty little tool I got works on everything but the 8S stuff. To pop pillow balls and all that good stuff out. So I gotta go back to the old school way. And these do not, oh man. Yeah, these do not go in and out very easily either. I remember I was just watching Earl Moorhead not too long ago changing his out. And I seen him pounding them in with a hammer, and I have a feeling I might be doing the same thing here. Alright, so now I'm going to find the right link. There are these massive ones. These things are gigantic. I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of, you know, these plastic ends they put on there, they're all great. But obviously I still snapped it. But, I mean, the truck did land in a tree and come down from, you know, I don't know what that was, probably 15 feet in the air. Came down and landed right on the corner. So, I'm not going to completely bash the new pieces here yet until it breaks when I don't think it should have. But hitting a tree, I'll give it to them for that. Yeah, Earl's been awesome, guys. I mean, you know, getting stuff set up, because it was honestly my first time really messing around with the Castle link and getting into the programming on these castles, and I wasn't that familiar with it. And he was awesome. He gave me a lot of help and, you know, kind of pointed me in the right direction on how to set these up properly. So he has been a great help with that for sure. But I think I'm going to have to use a socket to pop this back in the hammer by the looks of it. So we're going to give this a try. This was the Earl. Oh. Wow, guys, I almost vanished. Alright guys, I think... Did any of you guys lose me for a second? Completely? Sorry, it was kind of a moment of silence there. My computer said the battery died, because I forgot to plug it in for a second. And then my whole screen went completely black. Okay. Good. That was kind of weird. That's the first time that ever happened. I got busy plugging in lights and cameras and microphones and everything else and forgot to plug the camera in. Anyway, we're going to try the Earl method here and bang these in this way. Maybe. I guess I got to hit it harder. There we go. So these were not the links that everybody's been having issues with all the play. The rear ones actually fit nice and tight, and there is no play in these rear ones, but the front links are the ones that are having problems. That, you know, you got all this slop in there, but you know, Earl found about putting on different links in there and all that, and they tighten all that up, but I haven't done that yet. I've been running it the way that it is, and sometimes it kind of tracks a little funny, but it hasn't been enough to completely ruin my experience yet. At some point, though, I'm going to change them out. Yeah, sorry about that. My the OBS software shut down because it was mad because my battery was too low. So now we're going to try and thread this on here. I don't know how this is going to go just yet. Not sure which way I'm going to thread this. I believe that's right. So now, so how's everybody else been? GRC, how's it going, man? Anybody else been out for a little bash lately? Having any fun? I was actually excited to get back from vacation just to be able to go out and run a little bit again. And I had a blast today. You know, I hadn't had the Creighton 6S out in quite a while, the EXB. And I had an awesome time with that car, honestly, guys. I had entirely too much fun. Alright, well, this isn't threading on too bad. So far, so good. I should have measured, I guess, I could measure that side and find out the distances. But I'm going to have to because I don't know. I know this thread's in there quite a ways. They're definitely not like threading a 6S one, I can tell you that. These actually require some effort. Now, kind of judging by the other side on how far that one is out at the moment. And this one needs to go in reverse. Because I had wound both sides out quite a bit, trying to take up, or give me some extra room whenever I broke this thing to get that inside of the shorter plastic piece temporarily. And it did work, but wasn't the ideal fix. About to drop a 1250 firm or 160, 2017 to my Creighton 6S. Well, that thing should get up and move. And now, I'm sorry, I seen a couple comments go by during my battery dying moment with this thing overheating with the 1-to-1. Honestly, and I was shocked myself, no. Now, the days that I've ran this thing, it's only been like, you know, 78 to 82 degrees so far. I haven't ran it in like a really hot 95, degree day. But even in those days, I ran out there, ran a whole battery pack pretty much, or battery packs through it. And the motor, I checked the temps on it, it was running around, 110, 115 degrees. I was honestly shocked. I don't know, just getting lucky at the moment or what, but no. It is not running hot as of yet. But that was kind of another reason for wanting to put some different gearing on this thing, because I know on the hotter days I'm going to end up probably with it getting rather mad. And I kind of wanted to be able to use a little bit more of the trigger, because like I said, right now I can't even use any more than a half the throttle, because it's too unwieldy. The thing is just a wheelie, backflipping madman. you have a 41 or 43 tooth. Now you talk about running with the 39 tooth, the optional 39 tooth spur. Because that's what I have. I put the optional spur on mine with the 39 tooth spur on this with a 39 tooth pinion. And I mean, with this castle setup, it's entirely too much. It's ridiculous. It's warm in my basement at the moment. Yeah, I mean, if doing some speed runs or trying to get some high speeds out, that'll definitely do it. But definitely watch your temps, man. I know I'm kind of speaking the obvious there. All right, well, looks like I gotta adjust this camber a little bit more because it is definitely still out a little bit. Gonna give this thing a few cranks. I don't know if you guys can really see what's going on here, but I'll bring you guys overhead for a moment. Just cranking in this thing to get the camber right on the back wheel here again. That looks pretty good. I'll take it out just a tiny bit. Good as new. Good as new. So let you select 75. Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to catch up on some of the comments here if I'm missing anything. Yeah, that thing's going to be a beast, man, with that kind of gearing on there. All right, well, got the link fixed in the back. Now it's time to get the motor pulled out and change this pinion out. So, to do that, unfortunately, the only thing it drives me crazy. You have to pull, and I've tried and be lazy about it and not pull it out, and it's just impossible. But in order to get this thing out, you have to pull. You don't have to pull, but you gotta loosen up the battery box a lot. If you don't, you're not gonna get the side skirt out. And I can't get this motor out without pulling this side skirt off of it, so it's the only thing that kind of drives me crazy, honestly. It's kind of a major production just to pull the motor out. I mean, I guess it could be worse, right? I'm not getting that bit fitted down in there right. However, I did manage to get, with fitting everything differently, I did manage to get the actual nut on the plastic skirt now, so it's proper. Before, I couldn't even fit that in there. It was just too tight. Yeah, so I started ordering a couple different gears, and I also just got one for the Limitless that I'm hoping to take that thing out for another rip here before I leave. Because also, guys, anybody that's watching right now, kind of a good moment, that anybody that didn't see my YouTube post, that I am going to be leaving this coming Saturday. I'm going to the Olympics. That's working, you know, I work in television, so I'm going to the Olympics. So videos starting basically now, just because I'm trying to get stuff caught up because I was on vacation and just all that stuff. Videos are going to be spaced out further than normal. Basically, rather than like every 3 days, I'm probably going to have to post one up once a week while I'm gone because I'm trying to get as much content recorded as I can before I leave. But there's just so much to get ready whenever you're leaving for a month. It's just kind of hard with rest of life getting involved at the moment. So content is going to slow down a little bit. It's not going to be as frequent while I'm gone. But as soon as I get back from the Olympics on August 10th, things will resume back to normal, guys. I promise. But, yeah, I just kind of figured I'd let everybody know that now. Anybody that's on here. Because that's why I've been out pretty much I went out today, and I'm trying to get out as much as I possibly can. Number one, because I just want to go out and have some fun and run the cars. But I also want to get, you know, some footage together to be able to post up while I'm gone. And it's going to be a trip. It's going to be a long trip. Thanks, Three Sons. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, I mean, everything on this thing has been holding up great. And I mean, you guys seen the last video on this thing. You know, I've been beating it around pretty decent. Like, I haven't say I've been going completely nuts on it, but I've been pushing it, I think, harder than I have the Creighton 6S. And it's been holding up great. So, hopefully that continues. Got the 2 screws out of the top motor, and I just got to get the last one out. And that was one thing I found out, is that anything bigger, and maybe you should know this too, anything bigger than a 39 tooth pinion, you cannot get all 3 screws on the stock motor mount. And that is why I bought, you know, this thing originally, because I was thinking I was going to run, and cameras just are not cooperating tonight, but the other motor mount that I bought off eBay, it allows you, it gives you a lot more spacing and maneuverability to put different pinions in there. But yeah, you can't go any bigger than a 39, because then you can only get really only 1 motor mount screw in it. If you kind of slightly drill out the edge of the motor mount, you can fit 2 up top, but you can't get the bottom one in. So that is something to keep in mind if you're working on gearing. But yeah, guys, I mean, look. Nope, wrong camera. The size of that motor is just enormous. Things are a beast. A complete beast. Use the Copperhead 2 tires. Big Al's RC, what's up, man? You said yours like an nice. Yeah, this is the 39 tooth on here, and that's what I just put on the Limitless. I just put a 1-to-1 on there. I'm now, yeah, 39 on there. And I also got a new set of batteries. I got a set of 100C 6500 milliamp Power Hobby lipos. And I've heard a lot of good things about these. These are them here. The 6500, 100C, because I have been only running the 50 and 60C 4S lipos in the Limitless. So these should give it a nice punch. And also with the other gearing, it should move. Now my only battle is finding a long enough straight stretch of road that I'm not going to send it into a curb, into some dirt, or go airborne. Yeah, the Copperheads, man, I agree with that. The Copperheads are great tires for like the first 2 bashes, and then they go downhill very fast. I like the tires, but they do not hold up at all. I have always been a fan of the backflips. They've held up longer. Because you guys know that all of my 6S rigs that came with the Copperheads, I now have the backflips on those now. So, all right. I'm going to pull the car down here for a second while we work on the motor. So this is a 39 tooth that was in here. Gears are gigantic. Taking a drink. My trusty Red Bull. Can't go anywhere without it. Alright, so we got that. Just shameless plug. Someday I'm hoping Red Bull will send me free Red Bull, guys. No, that'll never happen, but wishful thinking. And it's honestly a taste thing. I just love the taste of it. I don't know why. I don't know when it started. But I've always just been a big fan of it. copperheads that are on my Creighton 8S, they're okay, but already the foam inside is distorted and they're unbalanced. I just haven't had great luck with the copperheads. I mean, everybody has better luck, different luck with stuff, depending on their terrain, what they're running on. You know, it's all different upon a lot of people, but I haven't had great luck with them, unfortunately. All I'm doing right now, guys, is cleaning all the oil and grease out of the threads so that there's no oil in there, so that the thread lock has its best chance of working. Because that's a common mistake a lot of people make. They get the gears, pull them out of the bag, throw thread lock on them, and slap them in there and wonder why the thread lock didn't hold. Is because the gears and the metal come with, you know, oil on them to keep the gears from rusting. But the problem with that is obviously it keeps the thread lock from properly sticking. So I always usually spray down the little grub screw real good with it, with a, you know, carbon choke cleaner or throttle body cleaner, and clean out the threads, and then run paper towel with some of it on there. Get all that stuff out of the thread so that the thread lock can actually work properly. What gears? You know what? I'd have to look up what company these were. I apologize, I don't know offhand, but this is a 35 tooth 8mm shaft M1, you know, regular Arma gear. Little harder, and I know some guys were talking in the last video, you know, getting 8mm shaft gears aren't quite as easy as your standard stuff. I had to order these. I just ordered them off eBay. I found a company, and I'll try to find out who it is here. But so far, all their gears I've been getting them from have been holding up great. And like this one, they usually run like around 21, 22 bucks right there a piece, so they're not terrible. Yeah, I've seen those soggy gears. Red Bull is salty as... Salty? That's something I've... You know, Froggy, that's honestly one thing I've never heard somebody say, is that it's salty. Sweet and stuff like that, yes. But salty is a new one, man. What have you been up to, Frog? I haven't seen you streaming too much recently. Now I just got to remember where the mesh is for this thing. I want to get the car back up here. Make sure I set it, or not the mesh, but set the placement of the gear properly. Ugh. Car doesn't feel terribly heavy when the motor's out. Oh. Well, number one, were you drinking regular or sugar-free? Because I only drink the sugar-free stuff. And that's not because, obviously, I'm real concerned about, you know, my figure or anything. It's just a taste thing for some reason. You know, I used to drink the regular Red Bull, and then I started drinking the sugar-free, and I just really seem to like it. That's all I drink now. So yeah, the mesh pretty much goes where its grub screws, even with the motor mount. Right about there. It should be good. Double check it and then crank her down. That looks maybe out just a tiny bit. Frog, did you say you're waiting for a picture? We're waiting for, a new PC. Oh, geez. Your PC died? Well, that's not good. Yes, Big Al's, Red Bull and vodka is pretty good. And honestly, I a lot of times mix Red Bull and tequila. You wouldn't think it'd be that good, but if I'm going to drink liquor, that's usually my go-to is tequila for some reason. I love Don Julio. It's my favorite one. Wait a minute, can I use a spool gear, mod 1? As long as it's a mod 1 and an 8mm, yeah. You definitely can. I mean, that's all the Hobby Wing and any of the shafts that are going to be an 8mm shaft, As long as it's the same gear mesh, and that's the most important thing, is making sure that it matches up to your spool, which is most likely mod 1. You're good to go. Oh. I was going to put this in, but I'm thinking about maybe putting that on the Limitless, so I'm going to change my mind on that. Because with the gear on this, I'm able to use the stock motor mount fine, so I'm not going to change that out just yet. I'm going to get the screw in the bottom. Oh. Nothing is light about this thing. Big Al's RC, I appreciate you stopping by, bud. Yeah, I know it's a little bit later over there in the UK. It's always the pain is you got to get this other screw on the bottom started before you do anything else and get it wound into just the right spot, and then do everything else. And the mesh on this thing feels pretty good. I think I'm going to go with it there, because maybe just a tiny bit less. It sounds it's a tiny bit tight. That sounds beautiful. Nice and smooth. Yeah. That looks good. What's up, Earl? I was just talking about you a little bit ago. But yes, that is the only thing the Outcast does, is lighten up your wallet. Yeah, Earl, I was just showing them. I think this was the same part number you got, right? Sorry, my cameras are not white balancing very well tonight. But it was the ARA 330744, the composite ball cup set, is what I got to replace out the rear link that I snapped on this one going off, well, when I clocked the tree. Later, Three Sons. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're just, I'm putting a different pinion on this thing now. I'm putting a 35 tooth on it and getting away from the 39. I'm going to try it out and see how I like it. Get away from the 1-to-1 for a minute. Because like I was telling you Earl on the phone, it's like I can't use over half the throttle. I can get about half trigger on the remote, and it's either wheeling backwards or flipping over. It's a little bit unruly. More power isn't always better in some situations. Most of the times, but not always. There might be some of you that disagree with that, I'm sure, out there. Peace out, Three Sons. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Well, we're going to get this thing back together. And then, I think I'm going to tear the front differential open on the rift and find out what's grinding and gone in there. I'm going to guess, obviously, the front diff that I probably stripped out and ripped apart. That. But I was about to order the parts. I was just going to order them and figured that's got to be what it is. But then I had a moment. I'm like, you know what? I better open it up and make sure what it is. Because I wasn't in any giant rush to get the parts for it anyway, because I knew I wasn't going to get the parts before I leave for the Olympics anyway, so it didn't matter. So I figured I'd just tear it open, find out what it needs, order it. And when I get home, I can fix it up then. This thing is a monster. Thing is awesome, though. Having a lot of fun with it. How has yours been holding up, Earl? I mean, there is different settings in there. You can kind of adjust the power in different spots. I mean, you can change the power curve on it completely. But, I mean, so much of it just has to do with the raw power of the system and the gearing. I mean, it's got too much. And I never be able to use that much top speed on a basher. I mean, it's kind of pointless. And plus, I'm concerned with it getting hot and running hot. So I figured I'm just going to try gearing it down a little bit and try this 35 in here instead and see how I like that. If I don't like it, maybe I'll go back or go to something else. But it's always the great thing about gearing. It's easy enough to swap it around. The mesh sounds good. So we got the 35 in here now. I got an extra 39. Got the Camber link on the back together. So now I think I'm ready to take this thing back out. I'm going to hopefully take this thing out tomorrow because I want to take this out and I want to take the Limitless out for another rip now with the new gearing and the new batteries and see what that gets. But I'm trying to find a stretch of road. I mean, that's the hardest part of the speed cars and speed runs, guys, is finding a long enough, flat enough piece of road to do it. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow I'm going to take this thing out. Chances of rain tomorrow. That's been the other thing, guys. I'll tell you what, ever since I got back from vacation, the weather has been fighting me. Every day, well, for the last 2-3 days now, every day is like 50 to 75% chance of rain every single day right now. And weather's not cooperating too well. So hopefully, yeah, I'm thinking this Limitless. If I get a stretch of road to unwind its legs properly, that thing's got to move. I mean, I'm barely on it. With the pieces of roads I've been on so far, I haven't hit full throttle. I've been around 2/3 throttle. And, it hit 114 with just a blink of an eye without even trying. So if I get the right place to run that thing, I don't doubt that it should be able to get up to somewhere, in 140 mile an hour range pretty easily. So I'm kind of excited to give that thing a rip. I got the GPS charged up and ready to go. So tomorrow's hopefully going to be an Outcast rip day with this thing. I'm hoping to take it down to the BMX track is where I want to take this thing to because I think it'd be a good time down there. And I'm hoping down there at the park because there is some spots in the park down there. And since it's a park, they're not very busy roads at all. And I'm hoping maybe I can run it down there. That's going to be my plan. I'm going to take the Limitless and this down to the BMX track and hopefully get to run both of them. I'm sure I'll be able to run the Outcast. The Limitless will just be a question if I got enough space. Yeah, I was watching some of their videos with Kevin and David and them with Hardcore running that runway strip. And I see they're running into the same thing that I ran into at my runway that I was running at. And it's pretty much the reason I won't go back now. Is on the runway, there's these little lips. And some of them transition up and some of them transition down. And it's fine when you're running, 80, 90 mile an hour. But as soon as you start hitting over there, obviously those tiny little bumps, man, that car is airborne. And I seen that's what a lot of them were having problems with out there. They were hitting that lip and the cars were just taking flight. What's your thoughts on the RPM A-arms, Earl? We'll see if we agree. I like the RPM A-arms on the 3S cars. I don't really care for them on the 6S or the 8S cars. They flex too much and they bend drive shafts. That's my opinion. What's everybody else think about that? Man, let's see here. I gotta remember how I tore this. So I know I gotta pretty much pull the whole front off of this thing. Well, not the whole front, but I know it wasn't as bad. I thought this thing was gonna be a lot worse to work on, but it wasn't. Yeah, I love the RPM arms on the 3S cars. They work great. I've always liked them. I put them on every one of my 3S cars, but on the bigger cars with the steel drive shafts, it's just not worth it, because now rather than occasionally breaking an A-arm, now you're bending drive shafts on a regular basis, and that's more frustrating and I think more expensive than an A-arm. So I stopped putting them on anything bigger than the 3S car. Yeah, the Slash, again, you know, the 3S size cars, they work great. I have no complaints on them. On the Slash that I had, I think I put the RPM A-arms on that thing also, and they work pretty good. Alright, what do I got to take off here now? I got to go to smaller bit stuff now. Down to the smaller parts. Put some parts away here before I drop stuff. I've been having to add more hooks to my parts wall over there. Getting more and more parts in. Try to keep as much stuff on hand as I can. Some stuff, as you guys all know, is not always easy to find. And when you do find it, try to gather up an extra one or two of them. But I'm going to pull this front diff off of this thing, because like I said, when I was running up there, it was running great. I was up there doing backflips. There was this really cool dirt hill that I was running this thing on and doing backflips off of it and just skying it into the air. And it came down to one time and all I heard was just, and it was just grinding, and then pretty much lost all drive in the front. It was like, well, that can't be good. So pretty much stopped using it. I was going to keep driving it, but figured if it's something minor, it's not worth continuing to destroy it. But now the only thing one thing I will complain about with this Rift, guys, is in the manufacturing process of this, is that they made it where you cannot pull the front diff off of this thing without pulling the servo out. Well, you can, but you can't pull it the whole way out. And to get the servo out, you have to completely pull out the damn box, you know, your receiver box. Like, they needed to make this I don't know, something so that you could easily fish the wire out, but it's all enclosed in the exact size, and I don't like it. It's kind of a pain having to disconnect and pull out the entire servo just to do that. But it is easy enough to take it apart. Just not get into the receiver box, because the receiver box is kind of a pain. Because there's screws on the bottom, screws on the top, and you got to pull all that stuff out. And like I said, I might be being a baby right now and crying about that, but it's one of those things that I don't know why they had to make it that way. They could have done and made it so that you could fit this thing out of there sideways, or even put a little bracket in here that could come off or something so that you could at least get this servo out of here without having to pull all this out. Thanks, Three Sons. I appreciate it. And yes, you're right. Earl is the man. He's great. And I felt really grateful and happy to go out there and had an awesome time getting to run with Earl and GRC out there. It was a blast, guys. Hopefully sometime I can make it out there again and have another run at some point. All right, so now I'm not even going to disconnect the servo yet until I know what I got to do. But I think I can just pop this front cover off of here and hopefully see what's going on. Because I got 4 screws in the back here. You pull these out, and the little front diff case comes off. Now, of course, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that off without... Yeah, I got to disconnect the link. Forgot about that. I've only had this thing apart once. And that was whenever I was changing this over to the upgraded front axle. Don't tear this thing apart very often. It's been a good car. Ever since changing out that axle to the upgraded version, guys, I mean, it's been a great car. It's been pretty tough. And I mean, I've been beating around in the mud pretty good with it, and jumping it, and backflipping it like crazy, and it's been holding up pretty good. Alright. Get that link out of the way. Now, can get that. Now here's what I assumed was going to be bad. But there doesn't seem to be anything wrong, guys. Well, that's kind of weird. I wonder what is broken then. See, I'm glad I didn't just order the gears. Both ends are turning. I don't feel any... What is that? Trying to see if this is normal at all. Maybe it's this end here. Trying to see. It's kind of weird. It's like now it's just turning. Maybe it's inside the diff. Because, like, when I'm turning this, I'm getting slippage, and I can feel it, like, inside. It feels like it's inside the diff. I think. I can see the shaft turning inside here, going into the diff, but it's not actually doing anything. So it might be inside there. I figured it was either the pinion gear in there or the main spur gear. However, it doesn't appear to be it. What's up, Build It, Break It, Fix It? Well, I guess I'm going to have to pull this apart a little bit more. It's kind of weird. It's like it turns there, as you can see. If I hold this, if I hold the drive shaft and try to turn it, it just feels like something's giving way in there. And then it just spins pretty easily. Like it catches kind of for a second and then just doesn't do anything. I don't know if that's normal. I'm a little puzzled, guys, to be honest with you. And I don't think it has anything to do with the slipper, the center diff. Because you could see it was driving whenever I was trying to run it. The axles were turning. The front axle was turning, but the front wheels really weren't doing anything. So that's what pretty much led me to believe that there's something. I have a feeling there's something broken inside this front diff. Inside. So, now I gotta remember how to pull this thing apart. It's been a little while. Because I know I gotta pull the drive shafts out first. But I don't remember if I have to pull the these other two screws here on the front, or if I could just pull these ends off and get it out that way. I don't remember. Jeez. And these pins are probably rusted in here to all get out. Well, that one slid out easy. Maybe. This one's fighting me. There we go. So, if I pull that out, all right, there's the drive shaft. All right, so I can do that. I just got to remember which way these come out. I'm sure I put it together wrong the first time, but I have a feeling I'm going to be ordering parts here, so. Just got to remember that the red calipers face backwards. Easy enough to remember, right? Wrong screw. Sorry I'm not talking much, guys. I was kind of focused on what the heck. How to get this thing apart again. But there's something in here broken. Alright, I get the pins out of here. And at least once I get the center diff out of here, I can figure out what's going on actually. See where the problem is. Oh yeah. Well, I have a feeling I'm going to end up having to pull this servo out of here anyway, so I'll just get that out of the way now. Real long drive shaft. So, there are the drive shafts out of the front now. So now, I should be able to pop out this diff. There she is. Yeah, the pinion looks fine. No problems with the teeth on that thing. No slippage. So, I'm going to set this aside for a moment here. And I guess it's time to open up a diff and find out what's going on in here, because I can only assume there's something in here. And if the problem's not in here, then I'm kind of lost. Because then at that point, the only thing I could figure is something in the center differential, but I really didn't feel like it was that because it was still driving, and I seen the front drive shaft turning, but I wasn't getting any drive. Get this bearing off of here. I'm going to lay down something with no pieces of dirt on it. Try to be clean about this. Yeah, I haven't ever opened up the diff on this thing, so I don't even know what is in here. Oh, and these are little. These are little 1.5 millimeter. These aren't even the normal 2. So we're going to open this up for the first time here. See what we got in the front diff of an Axial Rift. Trying to peek into some. Could be a drive shaft issue. Yeah, I mean, as far as the center drive shafts through the axle, I mean, all these are in good shape. They're solid steel, so these look fine. The drive shaft coming down into, the center looks fine, unless there's something weird going on internally, but. The fact that it had drive still, like the front drive shaft was spinning, but it wasn't rotating the actual axle, makes me feel like it's something inside of here. But let's open it up and see. That's some little bit thicker grease. Well, these are kind of weird. They're like direct sun gears. I'm sure some of you guys have maybe seen these before. I've never had one of these open, so this is kind of new to me. But rather than like, you know, the pin behind the sun gear and all that, they're just like a direct slot in the back for the axles, and they go directly into a sun gear. I don't think there's anything else to them. Like those don't turn or move. Trying to get the sun gear, the spider gears out of this thing. It doesn't want to come out. Oh, there's one. There's two. Not really sure what's going on here, guys. I don't see anything wrong, which I don't like. At least when you see something wrong, you know what you got to fix. I mean, the sun gears look good. I don't see anything. The teeth don't look... Nothing looks broke off, worn down. Yeah, you know, that's what I was first wondering initially was, you know, if this gear, you know, going into the front drive shaft, or the, you know, running on the front pinion was loose. It doesn't seem to be. I'm going to make sure and give it a snug. I mean, that one's still tight. Now this one, you can't even get to. But it's definitely tight on that spline. It doesn't want to move, so I don't think it's that. So I don't even know what the heck else it could be at that point. I don't like it when there's not an obvious problem. Well, that's weird. Well, I guess start putting this thing back together and see what happens. I don't see anything wrong with the spider gears. Like, all the gears on them seem to look fine. I don't really see any wear or anything like that, so I don't think it's that. So it's going to be one of these type of repairs. The guessing game. Sorry, RC and thing. Sorry, I was trying to look at comments again. I was kind of zoned out there for a minute looking at this goofy thing. Internally on the shafts, no, there's not. It's a basic normal dog bone, and they got a little spline in them that goes directly into the center diff, and it's just a direct, you know, lock. So there's not much to it really. But something was making a lot of noise, and I lost front drive. So if it's not in this front and not a drive shaft or something like that, I can only guess it's something in the drive shaft. I mean, there's the screws that lock them onto the pins, you know, from the center diff. And then there's the normal pins that hold dog bones. There's the center spline that joins them together. And that's, you know, just a piece of composite. It feels normal. But try to feel this too. I mean, that center diff is definitely not locked by any means. I mean, it is slipping very easily. Now I'm wondering if there's something going on with that center diff, actually. That I seen it turning and making me think that, but there's actually something going on there. Because that's definitely not right. It doesn't feel normal. But I'm gonna pack. There's some heavy fluid in here, but I'm gonna jam a chunk of earplug in here with it. See what that's like. If I don't like it, I can always change it out later. Man, this grease that they got in the center of this stuff is slimy. Very slimy. Yeah, normally, you know, you can kind of tell pretty easily if it's where the drive problem's coming from, but the way that it was kind of grinding and acting really made me think that, you know, I thought the teeth were ripped off of the diff gear, but they are perfectly fine, and that's definitely not where it's coming from. So now it's got me kind of puzzled. Now to get the lovely hose line back up again. Man, this grease is nasty. I don't know what that stuff is, but geez. All right. Yeah, I'm going to put everything back in here again and see what the shimming feels like and everything else. I'm trying to get these smaller screws lined up are even worse than a normal one. Trying to get them, they're very close. All right, I got a couple of them in here. I'm hoping it ain't that center diff, guys, to be honest with you, because that will be waiting for another day, because I have never torn the whole center diff out of this thing, but from what I've seen, it's a time-consuming endeavor. Trying to get, because you got to tear this whole section out of the bottom, and it doesn't look like a ton of fun. So if I got to do that, 6S line fit in those bearings. I'll have to take a look and see if the shims fit. It's different though as a like I guess I could shim. I'd almost have to shim, I guess, on this side, like put it on the diff gear, because they don't have the normal placement. Like, you know, the bearing sits right on here like that. So I'm guessing if I shimmed the bearing out further, I'll have to look and pop this thing back in here again and take a look at it, I guess. Because it doesn't have your normal spline sticking out, and it is a little different, I'm kind of wondering. So, there. Alright, so there's the diffs in there. And there's definitely no slippage going on with that part. It feels, yeah, that's very tight. Now, as far as play side to side, I mean, honestly, I cannot feel any movement, and I can't really push it any further to that side. Like, the tolerances feel pretty close. But you would have to shim the bearing, I think, between, by the looks of this. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Like, you can see there's not a normal way to shim it, really. You have to shim the bearing so that the bearing pushed harder on the differential in there. I think that's what you'd have to do. Now, if anybody else has tried shimming one of these before or not, if you have, please chime in. Yeah, it fits in there very tight. There's no room in there for that thing to really move around. Those bearings seat down in there, and I cannot get it to wiggle at all. So I don't think it's a shimming issue. You could hear it. I mean, it sounded like normally when a rear diff blows out and you strip the gears, that's exactly what it sounded like. And that's why I immediately assumed that, you know, I probably blew the front diff out of it because I lost drive to it and it wasn't working. but maybe it was coming from the center. Taking a drink. Alright, well I guess I'm going to put this back together, chuck a battery in it, and see what it's doing again. Maybe we can get a better idea. So, slide the dry shaft in here. Turn this till that drops down in there. Come on. There she goes. Alright. Kind of goofy with these pins. Like, rather than one long pin, there's a pin on both sides. And I don't know how much I like this setup, but I guess I don't have much of a choice. But I'm just going to start putting this back together, and if I find out it's somewhere else, then I guess we'll address that. But I mean, it's all pretty stout. I mean, the metal pieces that are all connecting the front links, you know, the front, basically the front, the whole drive shaft and everything all together, like it's all pretty heavy, nice chunks of metal, and everything fits tight. So I don't believe it's anything to do with in there. There's something. So I really figured it was something with that diff gear. But after even feeling that, it would take a pretty nasty landing or something to be able to get those to come out. Kind of weird the way these pins sit in there. These screws don't even look like they're holding, but they do. Goofy. Alright, now for the fun piece together part. Was anybody else out for a run today? I know it's a normal work day for people. My days are all over the place and different because I'm just home in different times. But I always like Mondays because the motocross track is always empty and there's nobody down there. So it was nice and dead today, which was awesome. So I got to go down there for the day and run and not get bothered by anybody. It was awesome. Alright. Go ahead and get this all back together now. Yeah, and I mean this front diff case, I better put some grease in here before I put that back together. Clean out the old stuff. You get the LMT out. Nice, where were you running that around at? You've been jumping that thing and beating that thing around pretty good, Froggy. Looks like it's been a pretty good truck, too. Like, I'm really amazed on the punishment that thing's been able to put up with. I mean, you're beating that thing around half the times like a basher. Alright, get the front diff case back on. Things aren't too bad to tear apart. I'm a little bit gun shy about pulling the center out of this thing because, number one, I've just never done it. And I don't know what order. I might see if... I'm sure somebody's got a video out there, I know it, of doing it to kind of see the best order to do it. Because that's always a big thing. It's like, yeah, anybody could tear one out. But there's usually a good way and a better order of doing it. You know, and not pulling out 10,000 unnecessary screws and that type of stuff. And definitely one thing that YouTube videos are always awesome for, is kind of giving you a lot of times the short-cut version of doing some stuff and saving you some time. I have done it and watched it many, many times on different cars. The first time tearing a car I've never had apart, and It's always helpful. Man, this screw's a mile long. There's another linkage on this thing, and I'm not sure what it's for. I guess you can hook up the front steering linkage two different ways, either on this side or the other side, I guess. So, kind of weird. Gonna hope that doesn't look very center. That looks center. We're gonna go with that. It's always easy enough to pull the servo saber back off. Almost ready to get this thing back together. I'm gonna chuck a battery in this thing and see what we get, because I'm a little puzzled now. Too many screws in order of doing this thing. Trying to think what the best way of doing this. Are these the front? Oh yeah, those are the ones coming up to the front. So, get that one in. At least there's something holding the front end on this thing. Ugh. Come on, line up. There we go. All right. Is it complicated to build the Outcast 8S EXB? I was once having HPS. It's not bad putting them together at all. I mean, most of it's all together already. You're just basically fitting whatever electronics you want, whatever servo, and going with gearing and just laying out all your wiring and all that good stuff. I mean, it's not bad because, I mean, most of the car is obviously together already. But it's fun. You know, it's a lot of fun kind of putting them together and getting them set up. So far, I've been having a lot of fun with mine. Hopefully that doesn't change. Alright, well now at least the front end's not going to fall off. And I'm hoping, since I don't have the top ones in, I can now get the drive shaft hooked up without fighting me. I think. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So, I'll flip this over now. I think. I'm trying to get the best way to... almost need to hook the shocks up to it, I think. This is always kind of the fun part, like... the way that these links connect up in the front, it's not super easy to get everything in place, because it just wants to collapse on itself. Come on. There's one. I'm just going to put the shocks in it real quick, at least help keep the front end up. Get those on there. Alright, so why is that not wanting to go? I don't know what that thing's hitting. Kind of weird. It's like being pushed down too much. Try that. There it goes. Jeez. That screw did not want to go in. Alright, come on. The last one, just cooperate with me. Maybe. The only thing, man, about some of the crawlers, man, the way that you gotta fish stuff together, it's just different than a regular basher. kind of meticulous. Alright, one more screw after this. And I'll finally be done sitting here focusing on this. You can keep a nitro going, you'll be fine on electricity. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah, if you can keep tuning and keep a nitro running all the time, you'll be okay with electric. They have their own battles, they have their own quirks, but overall, you're not tuning a motor every time you want to go out, pretty much. Alright. Got the last screw. Get the tires on it, and chuck a battery in this thing and see what's going on. Now for the fun part, to get two links lined up properly. There is one. Now, will the second one fight me too much here? Almost. There we go. I prefer the electric. Yeah, I know. I had nitro buggies, you know, a long time ago. And, I mean, they were fun. But what drove me crazy is going out every time you wanted to run them and you pull them out. Plugs filing, trying to tune them all the time and get them running right depending on temperatures and all that. It just got... I guess if that's, you know, everybody enjoys their own thing. If you enjoy tinkering and tuning them every time, then that's perfect. But I kind of like to be able to just fix it, you know, do the normal repairs, chuck a battery in it, go out, run the thing, have fun. I don't want to spend an hour or more every time before I go to run the thing trying to get it set up right. But, I mean, the nitro stuff is fun. You cannot beat the sound and the smell, that's for sure. They have a uniqueness about them that's pretty awesome in that regard. That's for sure. You can always tell a nitro buggy from a mile away. Alright, well, let's throw a battery in this thing. See if we can hear where the problem is actually coming from. Don't want to offend his self-spirit. Well, Shade True, we know there's many of those people out there in all different forms. Whether or not they're the basher god, the repair god, the, you know, the electric or the nitro god, whichever ones they are. There's plenty of those people out there. And, frankly, I think if you take it that seriously, it's a hobby, guys. It's supposed to be fun. You know? And I've had a few complaints about this in the last couple videos. Or last video, I think. One of the last ones. About people bitching and complaining about brands and certain cars and brands and all that stuff. And telling people that, you know, they're an idiot for buying whatever. It's like, guys, come on. I don't know why everybody feels like because the RC that they have or own is automatically the best one. It's not always the case, guys. I have lots of ones, lots of different cars that I own that some of them are good, some of them are trash, you know, and it's just the way you go, the croaky crumbles. I mean, and all of them go through growing pains, especially the new ones, just like the Creighton 6S EXB. I mean, when that thing first came out, it had tons of problems, lots of issues. The Creighton 4S, that's a good instance right there. Car's fun, but the diffs and drive shafts on it are a total joke. I mean, they fall apart and they break way too easy. I hope with the new revision of that car, if there's a new revision of that car, that they do something about the rear diff and the drive shafts and stuff on that thing, because it cannot take 4S. That thing was not intended for 4S. I refuse to believe it. It couldn't take it. All right, we're going to throw a 3S light on this thing. What's up, Brock Diesel? How's it going, buddy? I see you got some interesting stuff going on with... I don't know if I should mention this, but you posted it, so I guess it's okay. What's something interesting going on with Team Corrali? I see. What is that? I'm sure you probably can't speak whatever's happening. Yeah, the shirts. If anybody wants a shirt, I don't have them personally. It's actually a friend of mine too, so it's not just going off to some random company in China. It's actually a friend of mine that has a company that does shirts and stickers and all that stuff. And in the link on all my videos is down there is a link to the company Ink Monkey that he's in charge of. I'm not sure exactly how it all works, but anyway, all the stickers and T-shirts and coffee mugs and all that good stuff are in there if you want something. All right, well, we got a battery in this thing. Let's see what it's doing. You know something I noticed that's weird about the Rift is it takes a lot longer for this receiver in this thing to fully talk to my DX5. None of the other cars are like that. The minute you turn it on, everything's there. But this thing, you got to wait like, 4 or 5 seconds before it starts actually doing anything. And it's still not. What's going on? See, it's actually not talking at all right now. And I know it's on the Rift. There it goes. See, now, out of nowhere, it just suddenly finally woke up. Weird. Holy cow. This back wheel is way out of balance. I think the phone doesn't feel like there's water in there. No, I mean, I could squeeze that thing down the whole way, because I had these sealed off. Well, there is a little bit of water in there, I guess. Well, that tire's out of balance. Really nasty, like. Well, at any rate. So look. So there's the front wheels being held down. Bring you guys back overhead here. So, if I hold the front wheels down, I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just the weight of the car doing that. Alright, so I'm just looking at this again. And the drive shaft isn't turning. Alright, so there is something broken in here. Alright, so yeah, if I hold both of them, it does turn like this. But if you hold any pressure down on them, and then it really doesn't. It's kind of weird. Something's slipping. Well, I'm going to have to put some vent holes in these tires and get these things spun out. Woo! Yeah, that thing is out of balance. But anyway, as far as the problem goes, there's something slipping on that front drive shaft. And the only thing I can think, I'm going to pop this link out here and see if that grub screw is loose on there like you were talking about, Frog. There is one on this thing. See if that's going on. Put a diamond-shaped hole. Sorry, I'm looking at some comments here. Yeah, if you can't obviously speak upon that, Brock, I completely understand. I just seen your post. I was kind of curious about that. What was shaking there? Well, that's kind of weird. I definitely see some play going on there. One thing, there's not a lot of light in here. Holy cow. Trying to see inside of this, into this dry shaft is not very easy. I didn't think these had a grub screw that went the whole way through, but maybe they do. Trying to get this to come out. Grab my little magnet. Alright, so these are a fixed shaft. So there's no way for that to be spinning on there, obviously. So there must be something going on with this front diff, or the center diff, which is unfortunate, because I really didn't want to deal with tearing this center diff out of this thing. But I guess, yeah, that's snug. There's no play anywhere from here onto the front of the axle. Like, this is all very tight. So there's something going on with the center. Lovely. Well, that's going to be another day adventure, because I'm going to investigate the best way to tear this thing down, because like I said, guys, I'd never done it before. So probably watch somebody's YouTube video and find out the easiest way to tear these apart. But it's definitely got, I don't even know what's in there. I'm not even sure. I've never even looked in the manual to see what's inside this thing exactly. It does turn, but it just slips very easy, like something's barely catching. So, I don't know. And like I said, I heard a grinding noise and heard some crappy noise coming from it at first. So, there might be something broken in there. There might be some gears broke apart. Who knows? But I guess I will tear that apart after kind of checking out a couple videos real quick, because I don't feel like doing that right now. So, look at some of your guys' comments, so you'll have them. Thanks, Brock. Take it easy, man. Down inside the joist shaft for a screw that might have been. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Down inside the end, like inside the center diff. This one's pretty fixed. I don't know if I'll be able to get this on camera or not. I will try. Whoops, bang in the microphone. But you can kind of see it down in there. There's no hole in the center, so it's definitely kind of fixed. It's like a fixed shaft down in there. And as far as these dry shafts go, they're just open and have a grub screw that goes the whole way through, so that's permanently fixed. So there's something definitely happening internally, unfortunately. You have to remove 8 skid plate screws on the other side, lower cage. So you're talking about these 4 along here, I'm guessing, on either side, and probably these 2. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, but I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'm kind of going to take my time and mess around with it for the first time, so I'm not going to just do it at the moment. I'm going to be a chicken. And plus, I got to go out and do some running around. I got to go do a little bit of shopping and get a few things done. I got a ton of stuff I got to get together and ready to be gone for a month, so... You know, whenever I travel and I'm gone for 4 or 5 days, maybe even a week, it's not so bad. But trying to plan to be gone for 25 days is a whole different story. Bet the center diff is dry. You know, that's a good point. It just might be slipping. It's not, there might be nothing left in there. And I never checked it since it's been new. I never opened it up. You know, I pretty much, you know, I got this thing, went over the screws and all that good stuff, changed a few settings on the ESC that I wanted, and I've just been running it. And I beat the snot out of the thing, and it's been holding up great. But the first problem has shown its face. It might not be too bad. Probably not. But I'm going to tear it apart. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, depending on when I got the most time. But I wanted to at least open it up and make sure that it wasn't the front diff, because I first thought maybe it was blown apart. But that's not it, because I literally had the parts for it in my shopping cart, ready to order them if I thought that those were it. But now that that's not the problem, I can take those out of there. But yeah, that's a good point, man. That center diff might be bone dry, and it's just not transferring any power, because it tries, but as soon as you put any amount of load on the front, it just stops pulling anything there. So that's a good point. I'm going to pull that thing apart and yank this thing apart maybe tomorrow or the next day, and I'll see what's going on with it. But it's been a fun car. Really enjoyed the Rift. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a headache at first with those front axles blowing apart, breaking so easily. But like I said, after upgrading those and changing those out, it's been a pretty solid car. Before I lose the drive shaft. But tomorrow is going to be, like I said, the Outcast 8S and Limitless run, hopefully. And I'm hoping to do both of them at the park. Because I was just thinking about that today. I was trying to figure out where I'm going to run the Limitless next time. And I think that the park that I go to at the BMX track is going to be a good place for it. Because I think long stretch of road there on the back road going into the place is going to be long enough to at least maybe get it up to, you know, 125, maybe even 130 possibly. We'll see what happens. Let's see, yeah, I mean, Frog, the Rift is a blast, man. I think that you would really have a lot of fun with one of these. I know you kind of what you like driving, and I mean, you could beat the snot out of this thing. You can jump it, backflips like crazy off of just about anything. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun. But, yeah, I think that's going to do it for the night, guys. I'm going to go out and do a little bit of running around and a few things I got to do. Like I said, I got some really fun videos coming up. Like I said, they're going to be spaced out a little further apart due to me being gone with the Olympics, but I will be having videos pretty much on a weekly basis. You know, I'm probably going to post them up like either every Friday or every Saturday will be a video while I'm gone. So I got a couple fun ones together already with the X-Max, like I said, with the Creighton EXB, one with the Big Rock. I'll tell you what, the two today with the Creighton 6S, the EXB, man, I mean, that thing was just soaring, guys. I mean, that thing, the one clip, I don't know, Froggy, well, you get on Instagram, Froggy, anybody that's on Instagram on or see some of the clips, man, I mean, that thing had some serious hang time. I mean, the car was up there. But you're working on doing a little Wrath axle build. Nice. Yes, lots of parts are getting... You know, for a while there, things started coming back into stock, and it was easy to find some stuff. And then kind of, over the last couple weeks, I've noticed things have been kind of a little bit harder to get a hold of again. And it's been weird, random things, too, that you wouldn't really think, you know, would be out of stock. I thought stuff like getting the EXB parts for the Outcast 8S were going to be hard. As soon as I searched for them, boom, they popped right up. Had no problem finding those. But you go to find, you know, a center dry shaft for a Typhon 6S, they were nowhere to be found whenever I first went to try to order them. But odd pieces have been hard to find lately. Yeah, I get it, Frog. I know that with your PC being down, that's kind of a major thing with yours, with what you do with your games and streaming and everything else like that. That's definitely an important piece to your daily stuff, I'm sure. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for the night. I got the Outcast 8S ready to go. And I don't know where the problem lies with the axial rift, but I'm going to have to tear that apart and further investigate it. But just kind of wanted to chat and talk with everybody and say hello to everybody. And figure I'd get the Outcast up and ready to roll tomorrow because I'm excited to take that thing out for a rip. I haven't done a live thing in a while. I've been so busy with work and things going on. It's been nuts. Yes, I live in PA, Frog. Where are you at again, Frog? I don't remember. I know we've had this conversation probably a dozen times now, and I always seem to forget. How far from Jersey? I mean, Jersey's... Geez, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever driven... Wait a minute, you're in Tennessee? What part of Tennessee are you in? I literally just came back from Tennessee, dude. I just came back. I was down in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and all that. We were down there for a week in vacation, staying up in a giant cabin thing up in the woods. Oh, okay. About 45 minutes from Nashville. That's right. That's right, because we were talking at one point, because one of our company shop, well, one of our shops are based in Nashville. I'll show you guys something else kind of funny that happened on vacation. So I was trying to get some cool drone footage, right? Because off the cabin we were staying, it was a 2-story deck. There was a deck on what was considered the first floor, and there was a deck on the second floor. And mind you, like the first and second floor deck are already probably, like if you look off the side of the deck, it was about a 50 or 60 foot drop down into the woods. I mean, it's like hanging over the side of a cliff. So I was on the second floor deck the one morning, sitting here messing around, and I thought, oh, this will be cool. I'm going to take the drone out and soar above all the trees and up and kind of scope out some of the cabins that were all tucked into the mountains. Well, I was getting some cool footage. Managed to fly the thing way out, having a good time, went to land it. Well, I managed to bring it all the way back down and bring it into the deck, almost had it landed. Something happened with one of the sensors, I think, like it thought it was somewhere else. It suddenly kicked the thing backwards. Well, I overcorrected, shot it forward. It bounced off of the deck post and went full speed from about 80 feet in the air, just nose down into the trees and into the bed of the forest. And as you can see, my drone has seen better days. Both of the arms are snapped off of it. Everything else seems, it powers up still and everything, but both the arms on this side are completely snapped off. So I looked these arms up. You can get the arms. They're like $32 a piece. So basically somewhere around, $70, $80 probably within total to replace both arms on this thing. Now I'm probably order them at some point, but I also got a couple wires in there that are broken on this side. So I'm gonna have to try to fix that or see if they sell that harness that I can replace it. But the drone went down, but I did capture a little bit of footage with it before she took a nosedive. Yeah, she went down hard. It wasn't even a matter of it just like falling down into the trees. No, it was wide open, just straight down into the woods, in the ground. But anyway, guys, I think I'm done for the night. Skyworks, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Because this drone works good, and the video's pretty decent on it, but it does not have a good camera gyro. Like the camera gyros kind of works, but whenever you do those hard sweeps to either side, you completely get just way too much movement. So I am thinking about just trashing the thing or maybe fixing it someday, but I'm thinking about getting a different one because I don't really care for the camera gimbal on it. It doesn't work very smooth. It's like it's not a true gimbal. It's an electric gimbal. Basically, it's trying to correct it electronically, not actually keeping the camera level and flat. So I need to try something else. But then it's like I like the drones and I kind of like capturing some footage from above, but at the same time, you know, I tried taking it out a couple times with me, you know, on bash sessions and have it follow cars, and to be honest, it's kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, trying to keep it going and trying to have fun bashing, it just turns into too much. Like if you're just using it to follow somebody else that's out bashing, you know, to catch separate footage, it might be fine, but trying to do all of it is just, I didn't really care for it that much. Or if you just go out to run it as a drone, but it's okay. But, alright guys, well, now I am going to go this time. I think I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate everybody and stopping by and saying hello. This will probably be the last live stream until I get back from the Olympics. Like I said, I'll be back from that on August 10th. So when I get back from that, we'll probably have some parts, because I got, like I said, some parts coming for the Creighton 6S. Like I broke the front A arm, it tore one of the ends. So I'm going to do some work on that thing, maybe fix the axial rift and some other stuff when I get back. But until then, this will be the last time I talk to you guys for a little bit. It's going to be a long trip. We'll do Froggy. I appreciate you stopping by, guys. I really do. Always appreciate the support, and thanks to everybody out there. You know, the channel recently hit a little over 3,000 subscribers now, and I'm just amazed, guys, and I really appreciate everybody out there that supports it and comments and comes by and visits and says hello. I always appreciate it, guys. But that's going to do it, guys. So I will talk to you guys later. You guys all have a great week, and you know how it goes. Until next time, you all be safe. Be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.